Swords is about your relationship with the truth. Are you deceiving someone or are you being deceived? Please join me and learn what this card means when it shows up in a reading. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we'll be learning the tarot deck one card at a time. Today's video is about the Seven of Swords. This video will begin with a short description of the card. Next, I'll briefly explain what the card means when it appears in a reading. Then we'll talk about what each element symbolizes and what the card means when it shows up in both the upright and reversed position in a reading. I'll share some examples from my life so you can relate to the card in a real-world situation. And stay tuned until the end and I'll give you several questions to help you connect with the card. I will be using the Rider-Waite Tarot in this video. You'll find the link to the deck below, as well as to the many books that I've used in my research. So let's get started. In the Seven of Swords, we see a young man who we presume is a thief who has stolen 7 swords. He is holding on to 5 swords and has left 2 on the ground. He's colorfully dressed with a red hat, bright orange tunic, white undershirt, blue tights, and red shoes. He is looking over his left shoulder and appears to be quite happy with what he's done. There is a village in the background. You can see a group of people in the far left corner of the card who have lit a fire. To the right, we see brightly colored tents with their doors open. The background is yellow. The Seven of Swords can represent someone who is cheating. It can represent marital affairs or divorce. It can represent hiding the truth, running away from the truth, or not recognizing the truth. It can represent avoiding obligations. It can mean that you are running away from something. Or it can represent that you can use your intellect to get what you want. Finally, it can represent a journey by land or traveling without getting noticed. Let's talk about the symbolism in the Seven of Swords. First, let's look at what the thief is wearing. The red hat is called a fez. I'm going to give you a bit of information because I found it interesting. The fez is named after the Moroccan city, Fez, who produced the dye, which is made from crimson berries, to color the hat. The fez was the symbol of adherence to Islam, as well as the main headdress for Christians and Jews during the Ottoman Empire, which, if you're not familiar with history, lasted from approximately 1300 to 1922. The fez was adopted in the 1870s by the Shriners, by one of their founding members, an actor named Billy Florence. You can see a picture of a typical fez on the screen. When Florence was visiting France, he attended an Arabian-themed party and decided it would be fun to adopt the fez as part of the Shriners' uniform. The Shriners started off as a fun-loving fraternity, and this hat added to the fun and pageantry. On her blog post about the Seven of Swords at karinastarot.com, Karina Collins speculates that Pamela Coleman Smith created this hat based on the Shriners and was poking fun at how silly they were. I can see this being totally true. My son was in a fraternity when he was at college, something I didn't support, by the way, and they had a lot of what I deem to be ridiculous traditions. Regardless, red is the color of passion, so apparently the thief believes that he is doing the right thing. As I continue on, I want to say that most of the information on the symbolism of this card is taken from Pam Richards' book, Understanding Tarot. His bright orange tunic is covered with small dots or squares. It is a pattern that shows he has a great deal of self-confidence. The orange color also radiates a fiery, extroverted energy. The white undershirt lays close to his body and indicates pure belief in his action. His blue tights show a need to communicate through his actions. Like his red hat, the shoes indicate passion and that he will get what he wants. You would expect a thief to be wearing black so that he could sneak away in the dead of the night. So why the vibrant clothing? The clothing may suggest that he was hiding in plain sight, or that it was a crime of opportunity and he didn't try to disguise himself. The other explanation is that most of the clothing is stolen. He may have started out with just a plain white shirt and blue leggings. The hat, boots, and tunic may be stolen because they look out of place. Regardless, he looks very happy with what he's done. You can see a group of people in the far left corner of the card. Pam Richards describes them as a small group of soldiers who are so confident about their skills that they are chatting instead of guarding their tents. They have set up a fire, and you can see the gray smoke that obscures their view of what is going on. The brightly colored tents are open and make it very easy to steal. Stealing these swords means that the thief has armed himself with his opponent's weapons. This means he can't be attacked by them, even if the odds were originally against him. The two swords on the ground are symbolic of compromise and balance, as we saw in the original Two of Swords cards. One of the swords is higher than the other, which means that he sees his view as being superior. It also shows that he didn't take everything. He's leaving enough for his enemies to defend themselves. So he may be a thief, but he is a thoughtful one. Pam Richards notes that the thief holds the 5 swords in 2 groups. The 2 on his right shoulder represent the need to not face an emotional situation head-on, as he turns his head away from them. The other 3 over his left shoulder show the logic of his actions. The number 3 represents creation, so he has brought a new dynamic into this battle. The yellow background symbolizes conscious awareness. He knows exactly what he is doing, and he is not trying to hide anything. There could be other meanings for this card to him being a thief. He could be hiding, taking away swords that would have been used to hurt him, or taking back swords that originally belonged to him. Because the suit of swords is about thoughts and communication, the thief may not be stealing physical objects. Perhaps he wanted to become a soldier but wasn't good enough, so he is trying to regain his reputation. As with all tarot, consider both the question and the context of the card to figure out what is true in your reading. One thing that I noticed about this card, and I couldn't find an explanation for in my research, is that the thief is holding the swords by the blades. If you know why this is so, I'd love for you to comment below. If the blades were dull enough to hold in his hand, I'm guessing that the stolen swords were pretty useless. Most of the sword is a cold blue color that represents that it is about cold, unyielding facts. The white portion of the sword represents purity and purification. When the 7 of Swords appears in an upright position, it tells you to watch for the warning signs of trickery, dishonesty, deceit, theft, or betrayal. It can mean marital unfaithfulness, a secret love affair, or a divorce. It can signify using your intellect to get out of a difficult situation. It can be a warning to be vigilant about protecting your property and your belongings. It can suggest that you need to think like your enemies so that you don't get any surprises. And finally, it can mean that you should follow your instincts. Here's an example about the upright 7 of Swords from my life, which is about being tricked. My parents live in Canada and I live in the United States, so I only see them once or twice a year. For special occasions over the last 10 years, I have sent my mother flowers from this lovely, family-owned florist in a small town about 20 miles, or 32 kilometers, as they say in Canada, from their home. My only complaint about this florist is that they are very low-tech. If I order online, I never get any kind of confirmation of my order until I check my bank account to see that the money has been deducted. This year, my mom told me that she didn't want any lilies, so I wanted to send a custom arrangement. Because this florist doesn't send emails, I Googled flower shops in that town and recognized the address. When I called, I didn't get the nice lady I'd spoken to previously. I was also surprised that they didn't have my address on file and that they didn't offer to make a custom arrangement. Honestly, I figured that the company had been sold. I'll keep this story short, but the whole thing was a nightmare. I'd ordered the flowers 2 weeks ahead of the delivery date I wanted before Christmas. They ended up arriving 3 days late. When they did arrive, they were half dead. My mother finally found the name of the company I'd used in the past. I called and got the same lovely lady that I'd spoken to previously and asked if they had any affiliation with the Nightmare Company. She said no, that the Nightmare Company is actually located overseas, and what they'd done is rig Google so that their address showed up to be the same as the good company. People like me assumed that they were ordering from the good place, only to discover that their order had been farmed out to the lowest bidder and the quality was awful. I feel like I've got a lot of computer savvy, but this got me. It meant that my mother spent 3 days waiting for a flower delivery, and I spent several hours on the phone trying to track down the order, not to mention having to dispute the charges with the bank. The only benefit of this nightmare was that it gave me a good example for this video about being tricked. By the way, I got my money back and placed a new order with the good company, and this time I made note of the correct name. When the Seven of Swords appears in a reversed position, it can signify that the truth has been revealed, that you got caught in a lie, that you are being punished, that you are experiencing legal problems, that you want to do something underhanded, but you stopped yourself due to fear of getting caught or fear of failing, that you are resisting temptation. It can signify ending a love affair, or that you want something so badly that you are overlooking the warning signs. Finally, it can indicate that even though you believe you've gotten away with trickery, people know the truth. It makes me think of a kid who has chocolate icing all over his face, but keeps insisting that he didn't touch the cake on the counter. Here's an example of the reversed Seven of Swords from my life. This is about wanting something so badly that you overlook the signs that it might be too good to be true. And the example relates to multi-level marketing. I've had many friends over the years who have been involved in multi-level marketing, including myself in 1998 when I decided I wanted to buy Tupperware at cost. I joined for a few months, bought everything I wanted, and also sold to a few friends at cost, and then shut down my business. By the way, I'm still using almost all the Tupperware I bought, and I think Tupperware is a great product. I am not criticizing the quality of goods sold in a direct selling model, because I think the quality is often excellent. I did some research for this video because I wanted to provide statistics about what an average representative makes selling Pampered Chef, Mary Kay, and Avon. I'm not going to share the numbers because I am highly skeptical, and in my experience, the numbers were far lower than reported. However, it is possible that I just have friends who are poor salespeople. Regardless, all of the people I know were so excited by the idea of an easy, passive income that they ignored some serious red flags. Out of the 20 or 30 people I've seen go the multi-level marketing group, I only have 2 friends who have done very well. And that's because both of them are excellent networkers and have built a substantial downline. For everyone else, it turned out to be a lot harder than expected, and quite honestly, the sales pitch was too good to be true. I've known many people who've ended up with thousands of dollars worth of inventory that they were unable to sell. Here are some questions to help you connect with the Seven of Swords. Number 1, have you ever been the victim of trickery, deceit, or fraud? What lessons did you learn? Number 2, are you being honest with yourself and others? Number 3, what calculated risks are you taking? Number 4, have you ever wanted something so badly that you overlooked warning signs? Number 5, do you feel that you are too trusting? And finally, number 6, do you rely on your intuition to make decisions? So I hope that this video has given you a good look into the Seven of Swords. And please join me for the next video, which is the Eight of Swords.